Hey everyone! If you're enjoying the coverage of the Pro Play Tour online series, just remember, you can play in one yourself. Every Thursday you can enter our free weekly 64-player tournament with invites to the entire Top Cut. Every Saturday is our weekend championship, where you can enter a YCS-type event with 100% payout and even a cash payout option. The more players, the bigger the prizes. Can't commit time to play in our one-day events? We also host multiple 8-man pods daily, ready to fire on demand on your own schedule. All these events award invites to our free invite-only Players Championship, May 9th through 10th, with prizes supplied by our sponsors. For more information, visit ppgeventmanagement.com and come play with the pros.
Welcome to round 4 of the Pro Play Tour Weekend Championship. I'm Alex Emo, joined by Joseph Rothschild for another electrifying commentary. So, we got to see a glimpse of this in our previous match. We had our round 3 feature match done. We were trying to find other matches to show you guys, and we saw the tail end of Morphtronic Man on Madolche. So 3-0, both Morphtronic Man and Belzif are at 3-0. We don't know what Belzif's playing yet, but we just saw we saw him convincingly winning his game, and so we wanted to go ahead and see. Also, Eternity Code brings with it of new Madolche cards. So I'm very curious how this deck has adapted now that Eternity Code is now legal.
So, I took a shot at playing Madolche on stream a couple of days ago, and I can tell you, this deck is hard as hell. It's extremely difficult to play. It has a ton of lines that end on very unassuming boards. I'm talking things like Sistart linked to a monster that doesn't have a quick effect. But it turns out that's way more than enough to win games when you have something like Chateau Ticket as a resource loop. Madolche got a ton of new tools in the new format, a trap that works as a piece of negation, it's searchable for free, and a double summon that has about 15 different effects on it. I hope we're able to see it this game, but it also helps set up Secret Village of the Spellcaster lines. The deck can basically do anything at this point, is what I'm trying to say.
So we had Madolche Sasur leading us off. This is typically a card we see in Adamancipator, but it's actually being used in its own native deck. If you have no monsters, you can special summon it, and then when it's special summoned, you can special a Madolche from hand or deck, except itself, and reduce its level by 1. The target of choice is always the Pudding Cess. Then both are level 4. You can make Madolche Glass Souffle. This card's rather interesting. It's kind of like a quick effect DD Crow, but instead it shuffles cards back into the deck. And then we are able to pivot into our Madolche Julie, and Jen Julie basically is a Lone Fire Blossom for the entire archetype, so you tribute that to go into your Hoot Cake. Hoot Cake then banishes the Angeli to be able to summon the Messengelato from deck, and because we control Beast, Messengelato can be of our Madolche spell or trap. It's going to go for Madolche Promenade.
So, two things here. Firstly, Glass Souffle's effect exists exclusively to put Madolches into the graveyard to enable Chocolate a la Mode effects. And secondly, we're only getting to do this Messengelato Hoot Cake line because we drew an Angeli alongside normal combo starters. We've spoken to Madolche players in the past, and what they like to do turn 1 is set up what they call the wall. It's a series of Madolche monsters that just self-replace when they are returned to the graveyard. Salon enables an extra normal summon for the second Messengelato. Unfortunate, usually you want to special that card. Promenade will be able to prevent the opponent from I believe, interacting in meaningful ways with the Madolche monsters. And we don't know the remaining set card, but likely it's going to be just as troublesome as the cards that are on field.
Yeah, so Salon being one of the newer cards, for those of you who don't know, it's a continuous spell. During your main phase, you can normal summon a Madolche in addition to your normal summoner set. And if another Madolche card you control or in your graveyard is added to your hand or shuffled into your main deck by a card effect, which pretty much all the Madolches do, you can set one Madolche spell or trap card directly from your deck, except Madolche Salon. You can only use that effect once per turn. So basically a way just to get to your trap specifically, or whatever Madolche card you see fit for any situation. I'm going to start off with a normal summon of Crusadianess here from Belzef. Are we just on Crusadia? Oh man, we might be. We're going to go.
So there's a couple of things this could be, and none of them are good. Obviously, the most likely scenario is some sort of Crusadia OTK or combo deck. But the second possibility is Clock Dragon FTK.
Oh no. If we're going to see Clock Dragon FTK, oh my god.
We won't know if it's Clock Dragon FTK this game. The deck has the ability to pivot into OTK lines when going second, just by going through the extremely powerful Crusadia monsters. Right here you see Salamangreat, old staple, Crusadia Reclusia making it onto the field, triggering the Magius, and also potentially popping an opponent's card.
Yeah, Crusadia is a deck we really haven't seen a lot of since the Danger Thunder Crusadia Thunder Dragon days. Still a very good archetype nonetheless. Got a good cards for going first and second, being able to establish some pretty good boards. So I'm curious to see what Belzeth is on here. We've been bringing you guys a ton of Adamantipator and L matchups for the last 3 feature matches, so it's a little bit refreshing to do something a bit different here. Keep in mind, both these players are 3-0 at this point, so one of them will be 4-0 by the time this match is over.
I am really, really like. I'm not trying to play favorites. I'm really hoping that Madolche walks with this one.
I would love to see Madolche in Top Cut. We've had previous Pro Play Tour events where we had Madolche in Top Cut, and that was an absolute treat being able
Oh
to
yeah.
commentate those games. And now
Okay,
here we
that
go.
one
We
you
have
prepped
Crusadia.
beforehand.
Okay, so Crusadia Helix coming to the field. Not the most played card. In a more pure variant, you would see something like this.
Yeah, so this telegraphs that likely we're not going to be seeing something like a dragon combo using like Spatha to move over an LP or something. It's either Clock Dragon FTK or just Crusadia OTK. And if it is Crusadia OTK, this is basically your last chance to interact with it. Regulex is going to be able to add Crusadia Power to hand, which is the in-archetype Forbidden Chalice.
Right, and cool card. Again, we're going to be seeing potential OTK with Crusadia Equimax. The whole goal of this is to effectively like launch your opponent with Crusadia Equimax. Just a very devastating card. A lot of decks, I don't want to say a lot of decks, some decks will take advantage of Crusadia Equimax as DK win condition in the same line as a card like Borrelsword Dragon because it works better with their archetype. Paranoid, as an example, is a deck that does this. Here we go. Now we're starting to see there's a Crusadia Revival. So maybe he already has it.
Yeah, so Crusadia Revival telegraphs either they already have it or they do not care. They are absolutely going for the OTK.
They're just like, whatever, like, stop me.
What are you going to do? I'm attacking everything.
Yep, so here's Equimax. So if we no TK this turn, this is going to be it. Equimax just one hell of a card, being able to gain the attack equal to all the combined original attack of the monsters that it points to with its link arrows. We currently don't have any, but that will definitely change here very soon.
So we know there's a Leonis in hand. That gives it piercing. The other one we're scared of is Maximus. That doubles the damage that you would take from battles involving the card.
Yes, so currently now that Equimax is on 3,200 with piercing, thanks to the Leonis. And now here comes Crusadia Revival, gives the Equimax an 500 attack, so now it is on 37.
So you can hit everything. Is that lethal in and of itself?
So that would be 22.
22, 26, 12? Not enough yet.
No, not enough. He's going to need at least monster or, like you said, the Maximus to be able to go in here. There's also still the back row that Mortronic Man has, so we can't like completely write this off yet, but the setup is at least assembling.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All the Crusadia monsters will need to special summon themselves to a link arrow openly available, which is really nice. Just a way to help pump this Equimax. But as we've seen in other variants of Danger, Crusadia, Thunder Dragon, just allowing you for easy link climbing through this mechanism. And, I don't think it was initially intended that way, but I thought it was pretty cool that deck did this for a time.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, is this what the deck exists to do? No, absolutely not. It is very much not within its rights. But, its existence was funny, if nothing else.
So a little bit of a here. I'm not exactly sure what is taking so long.
Remember, these individuals are in Discord with each other, so it's possible they're speaking with each other about something that we don't have information about.
That is true. That should be some issue that they are discussing that we're just talking about here. So I'm not really too sure. That is one of the difficult things about using Discord in this. It's great for the players. It's absolutely wonderful. But since we don't have the chat to be able to look at communicating, so it's a little bit difficult. We're just going to battle phase here, though. I don't really exactly, unless he's like playing like honest. I don't see this being an OTK. A flip nod here.
All right, so Madolche Promenade is fantastic. It will negate the effects of this Equimax if this is allowed to resolve, and can be banished from the graveyard to target a Madolche Xyz and attach a Madolche from your hand, deck, or graveyard to it as material. Usually you get it to put a pudding cess under a Chocolat a la mode. Here we're activating Crusadia Power in a chain.
Yep.
This means that this Crusadia monster will not be affected by card effects except its own.
Right, absolutely. So that means that the Madolche Promenade will not affect Equimax, which means Equimax is free to go ahead and continue to do what it was doing and attacking through everything here, unless there is a another thing that we have as a follow up here.
How does this
I'm not
interact
exact.
with Revival, actually? Is it still
Ah,
able to attack everything?
monsters unaffected by card effects this turn except its own. Well, we have to think from a card design perspective here that
Right.
this would that you would think it would work in the way that we wanted to, but there's been multiple times in the past where that's not always the case. But in any case, it looks like we had
We're
a
just having a quick
souffle
discussion about what this
attached.
card does and how it interacts with the board. And it looks like that will, in fact, prevent Promenade from resolving. I wonder what that additional set is.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's nothing that we know of anyway. So I think the chain resolved. I think we're all good. Equimax should be able to swing on through here. I guess we will know if Equimax like still has its like attack boost and everything.
Yeah. Well, it'll definitely still be at 3,200 at minimum, which means you can attack into something like a Sistart, for example. Resolving real quick, the Messengelados, they went to the graveyard. Those are not supposed to stick around.
Right. So those get shuffled
No,
away,
I
but that
think this
also
is the Glass Souffle
Salon.
activation. So by activating Glass Souffle, they're going to target a Madolche monster on the field to make it unaffected by monster effects. And then because a Madolche card was sent to the graveyard while this is on the field, they didn't activate the effect because Promenade went to the graveyard. She used her
Right.
effect to shuffle back the Messengelados and set the second Promenade. Okay, I
Right.
figured out the game state.
Okay,
Oh
so
my
now
God.
we're all well and good now. Equimax swung in, and now we're going to go ahead and shuffle back this Petting Sasur here as well.
Oh wow, wait. Oh no, it
Oh, is it
looks.
because the Sistart? If it would be
Oh
destroyed by battle,
no.
you can shuffle away the Petting Sasur instead.
Whoa, that's so strong. It's going to be hard for him to get through everything, and also he's not going to be able to pierce through for lethal. I mean, if the Madolche player is allowed to activate literally anything, they will probably have won the game.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, it was a valiant effort here. Again, not over. Equimax is still a card, but
No, yeah, Equimax is on the field, and it's sort of a negate, right?
yeah, it is sort of a negate. So there is like at least something. Plus, also Belzev has some cards on his field as well. So we're it's Morphtronic Man isn't out of it, but definitely taking a lot of damage there.
Oh wow, just neglecting to use Equimax's negate effect. It looks like they're going to go from Leonis into a Magius, so they can go into Mekk-Knight Crusadia Astrum.
I'll have to see if that's the line here. All right, so Mage is there.
Oh, chat to the rescue once again. Revival is a lingering effect, so it could attack everything, but didn't gain the 500.
Okay, well, thank you, chat, for clarifying that. And so now we're going to link off the Equimax as well as the Magius for the Avarice, as you alluded to. Hell of a card, by the way.
It's real strong. What it also isn't is interaction. So
Yeah,
if you have a way to play through this card, which Madolche likely does, the game might be over. With Hootcake on field, I think actually it is going to require literally nothing to get this off to the races.
Yeah, I think it should be pretty easy to remove this. It has a lot of shuffling effects to be able to dispatch of something like Abramax. So I don't think in this particular instance it'll be too difficult here. Also with Salon, we have an additional normal summon. We already have the we can also negate it as well, unless the looks like Forbidden Chalice is going to be used in response to the activation of Hootcake. Again, a little bit difficult for us to know, but then that's going to be met by Madolche Promenade, and that's going to negate the Forbidden Chalice to ensure that Hootcake resolves here.
So Madolche Promenade is going to either negate the effects of Promenade or return the Hootcake to the hand. I would really like to see that too. No, putting the pudding cess back in hand.
Yeah, so putting cess back in hand. Yep, Chalice is going to go ahead and get negated, and now we get to resolve the effect of Hootcake. We're going to special summon out Petting Sasur. Petting Cess, it's special summon. We can bring out that Pudding Cess once again, their hand or deck if we want to go for Pudding Cess. It's any Madolche monster.
Yeah, people forget that Petiting Sasur is insane, and apparently they're on 2 copies of Pudding Cess. Honestly, I don't hate it.
I mean, for how pivotal it is for this deck to succeed, we're also going to get now the Madolche Chateau here off of what I believe to be the activation of Salon.
Yeah,
Yes.
because whenever a card you control or in the graveyard is added to the hand or shuffled into the main deck by a card effect, including their own, you're able to
Yep.
fire off the Salon in order to set something like a Chateau.
Right, now here we go. We get to go ahead and use the effect of Queen 2 by making, with our Petting Cesur and our Pudding Cess, we get to detach a material, target 2 Madolche, and shuffle any 2 our opponent has into the deck. We have Crusadia Power, though, for some defense, so that makes it so that this Avermax will survive, because guess what? It is a Crusadia monster, funny enough.
Right. It will survive, but it's also really stacks up poorly against the field. You know, if you're able to shuffle back
Yes.
everything your opponent controls against the OTK deck, they're left with just the monster that does 3,000 maximum. You probably feel like you're in a pretty good position if you can manage a single extra piece of interaction.
What's also interesting is that with Madolche specifically, in the past, it was like this going second rogue deck that was just focusing on like the one card OTKs that Magdalene and by extension Petting Cesur and Angeli also provide. But
Right.
with the new cards out of Eternity Code, such as Salon, it actually gives it some more viability for going first and setting up some boards. I think the jury's still out on which one's better, considering that these cards just came out literally 2 days ago. But it's
Um,
interesting to see that the game plan has ultimately has a different element to it than it did before.
To me, it feels a lot like Salamangreat. You know, it's a deck that can go first and set up a pretty imposing board with Promenade filling in for something like a Roar or a Rage. And going second, it excels at chewing through opponents' interaction with stuff like Chocolate a la Mode, Salon in order to recoup a summon. Basically everything off of the back of Petiting Cesur summons like Gazelle would function in Salad. Here we're seeing the activation of Chateau, and of course, on activation, it shuffles all the Madolches in your graveyard back into the deck. If you've got a
Correct.
Chocolate a la Mode on your side of the field, Shield trigger and summon a Message Gelato from deck. That'll get a ticket from deck. I mean, it's just unreal.
Going for an additional copy of Chateau, interestingly enough, wants to shuffle again, perhaps, because he has the Queen Tiramisu in the graveyard, so he can trigger Chocolate a la Mode again. He has
Hey,
another
might as well.
material. Yeah, it's not a once per turn. Chocolate is one of these for the longest time was like $60 because it had like no reprint.
Yeah,
And
very recently playable for
it was,
us
it
poor
was in
people.
it was in Dual Overload, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now here we go. We get another copy of Messenger Gelato to the field. Um, uh, Typically this is fine. Crusadia Power lasts till the end of the turn. I believe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not like we can like use effect here. But we are going to get another copy of Promenade, and now this is going to make Glass Souffle. Set the Promenade. We can negate the effects of. Well, actually, I think Promenade actually targets, so I don't think that would work. But I mean, the amount of advantage that Morphtronic Man has just assembled here, he's in such a position to win this. Avermax is not threatening in the slightest.
Hmm.
It's going to be very difficult for him to come back from this.
The only scenario in which Belzef wins is if they're able to push through a little bit of damage over the fresh Sistart, which is the only monster in attack position.
Right.
However, you can return that sucker to the hand with Promenade in a pinch, and suddenly you're staring down the face of a Glass Souffle and a Chocolate a la Mode, both cards that honestly don't care about being in the graveyard.
Right. So it's going to be a tough one here with only a couple cards to work with. I mean, Bell's ended the majority of his resources already, so not really going to be too much he can do here. I'll be surprised. I mean, this deck can OTK out of nowhere, and with Mortronic Man only on 3,500 life points, it's not impossible, but I would say the odds are definitely stacked against him.
I mean, I'm singing the praises of Madolche, but this was a pretty bad hand from Crusadia. They only drew into, I believe, a single card that triggered any Crusadia effect. It was the Leonis that they looped with a copy of Draco that was summoned off of Magius. I mean, there
Right.
really wasn't any access to any of the power plays like Magnus or Maximus, rather. The piercing damages that would have pushed for lethal, and they had to go second against a deck that is surprisingly very competent against your specific strategy.
So Belzov taking his time here, deciding what he wants to do. Again, I think backs are to the wall here. Doesn't really have much he can work with. It's going to be a bit
Um,
difficult.
Wait,
I'm
chat
trying.
is saying this is an illegal play. Chocolate a la Mode does trigger if a Madolche card is shuffled into the main deck. What are you? I don't understand. All right, so we're just going for the chocolate a la mode here. Does just about nothing. Ooh, but does get to draw 4
Crusadia
cards.
Testament. Yeah, okay. This is a card that this card is very scary. So
Oh
Crusadia
boy.
Testament, a quick play spell. Activate one of these effects. After damage calculation, if your Crusadia Link monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, draw cards equal to your monster's Link rating. Now,
Yeah, we have
however,
to
that
negate
is
that.
right. Madolche Promenade will be able to negate that. It's really nice that Madolche has this piece of negation now.
Yeah, it's just kind of an all-purpose like face-up card negation, the same way that Equimax is, ironically.
Right.
Able to prevent this Crusadia Testament from drawing about 200 cards. Pretty relevant. This specific card has been such a house in this deck in particular. I've seen so many people playing this on ladder, and it's so frustrating to watch this like all or nothing style deck just get to recoup all the advantage they lost as soon as they attack.
Absolutely. I mean, especially too when it comes to Promenade, it's so easily accessible through the Madolche archetype, right? There's so many ways to get to it, to recycle it, and just to continuously have it
Oh, I was
for
talking
just.
about Testament.
Oh, excuse me. I mean,
Madolche can have everything it wants. I don't care. That's a fun deck.
so it looks like they put Testament back on the field. I'm not sure if there's like something they're discussing. Maybe with the way that this is like supposed to resolve. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
Again, with limited knowledge because they're not discussing anything in the chat because they're in their own Discord call. It's hard for us to be able to identify.
I like to imagine that the Crusadia player is complimenting the Madolche player on their fantastic deck selection abilities. The Madolche player is complimenting the Crusadia player on drawing Testament. That's the mark of a good Crusadia player.
Have you ever been in one of those situations where you're playing in a tournament and you have to call taking like a while for the judge to walk over, or they said like there'll be a minute, and then you're kind of just like awkwardly sitting there with your opponent, just like
So I guess I'm gonna try and get a game loss off you then.
I'm doing
Oh,
is
here we go. So I've actually figured out what they're trying to discuss. They're in the judge ruling chat right now. This Crusadia Testament is being activated at the end of the damage step. And so the question is, do you chain Madolche Promenade? Now, notably, this card says after damage calculation, which is not after the conclusion of the damage step, it is during
right.
it. And if that's the case, you probably can't activate Promenade to negate it.
Will you be able to keep us updated with that? I'm actually looking currently right now for just to get people updated on any other wins if we have anything in already.
Mm-hmm.
We're only about 10 or 15 minutes into round 4, but I want to see if we can let people know of anyone who is 4-0 currently. Looks like nothing else is in yet. Got a lot of 3-0s though from last round. Mr. Dennis Nadas, Fetty Guap, as we saw earlier. Unfortunately, got that game lost for the disconnect, but he managed to pick up that game. He is currently 3-0.
That's powerful.
Cody Angelos tournament. He is currently 3-0. In our round 1 feature match, he is 3-0. Stevie Blunder, your Gem Knight FTK player, he's 3-0. Maybe we should feature him in the future.
No, if we feature him, he's going to lose. He literally has never won a feature match in his entire life.
Well, you know what, Joseph? There's a first time for everything.
That is true. He is bugging me asking for a feature.
Well, then all the more reason we should give it to him.
Yeah.
Any update on our ruling here?
Nope. They're trying to deal with about 2 or 3 rulings at once right now. But I would imagine that the answer is no, you can't activate Madolche Promenade in the damage step.
And that would just give Bells
doesn't, of course, negate any activations.
You know, that would be too good, wouldn't it be? All of the fun semantics of Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, we have, I'm probably going to butcher the name, is Manos Kavosikis, the first place winner of the first, the first Eternity Code weekly event that we had earlier on in the week, where Eternity Code was legal, and he got first place, Machina Orchist, and I thought that was rather interesting. He's 3-0. Maybe he'll be able to move to 4-0 a little bit later on. But Machina Orcus gets a very interesting boost from Machina Metal Cruncher in Eternity Code. Being able to just allow easy access to cards like Scrap Recycler, which is nice. You also have the new support from the Machina Mad Destructure deck that we just got earlier in April. Pretty cool deck. Again, taking first place in the first Eternity Code tournament that Pro Play Tour was throwing. So it's cool to see that he is currently 3-0 as well.
Looks like we are getting a resolution on this. You cannot activate the Promenade, so likely the Promenade will be flipped face down. We will get a short time extension. Yep, and that's what's happening. And Crusadia Testament will draw 4 cards!
It's not often you see a card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Draw 4 that's legal, but this is one of them.
Don't like it. Don't like it.
Is it going to be enough, though? I mean, he doesn't have his battle phase. What can he really set up in main phase 2 with all these cards?
Well, Crusadia used to be pretty practiced at comboing off. I don't know. Maybe these 4 cards are LP fodder plus Gamciel.
I mean, I feel like it's still going to take a lot. Madolche is still pretty established at this point. Yeah, it's going to be rough. We'll see, though.
Wow, well, that's a good start.
There's a Kaiju. Okay, so you called that one off. To be fair, they do play Kaijus in their main deck because they're looking to just clear any threats and then be able to OTK by giving them the zone from the Kaiju pointing with Equimax, and then Equimax will gain the attack of the Kaiju that they're pointing to. Whoa! Here comes the Black Garden.
Excuse me? You want to run that one by me again, King?
So this just took an idiot left turn. Now I have no clue where this is going.
Okay, so unfortunately, I think I do. There are a ton. So 2 reasons. Firstly, Black Garden's great when you already have an established board.
Sure.
It enables your opponent to never, ever summon anything that will threaten your monsters ever again. And secondly, there are specific Black Garden combos, and Crusadia might just be an engine to get through them. In a lot of degenerate as heck FTKs, the card that has replaced Eve the World Chalice Miko is Black Rose Maiden, a 5-star synchro that searches this card specifically. I would be very happy if we saw something like that.
If you're telling me we're about to see Black Garden combos in 2020, oh my god.
If you fill up the board, if you fill up the board with like Parallel Exceed going into Black Garden tokens for the opponent, what are they going to be able to summon? They don't have anything generic in the extra.
If this is the way that Belzef is going to end up winning this, I am going to be astonished. So here we go. Parallel Exceed hitting the board because a monster was link summoned. Just when we thought we'd seen the enough of Parallel Exceed already, we're seeing even more utility here in tandem with Black Garden, a sentence I never thought I'd be formulating at this point.
This is so funny. I'm pogging in my skin. These wounds, they will not heal.
This is one of those like Yu-Gi-Oh moments right now.
This is a true r/Yu-Gi-Oh moment. Oh man. So you get Parallel Exceed, get another Parallel Exceed, why not?
Get another Black Garden token as a result of that, and then from the overlay or the link of both of the Parallel Exceed cards, potentially even maybe linking off with the Magius, then we're able to go into the 5th and final, or we're able to establish the 5th and final Black Garden token for our opponent. This is
this is so powerful.
I don't think anyone this is I don't even know where to go with this. This is crazy.
Yeah, I'm so far behind. This person is living in 3030. I mean, I was wondering, I was like, wait, how is a Crusadia OTK player undefeated? Well, we figured it out, folks. They're doing something completely ridiculous. Can we see an overlay for like a Rafflesia or something? It looks like we're going to see a Link summon for 3.
Yeah, and just to mention too, you saw the previous feature matches we showed, ladies and gentlemen. There was still Adamancipator and Eldritch literally everywhere. So it's very possible that Belzef was playing against those and just happened to just do this very combo. Oh my god. Trizbania. Okay, so the final token is now summoned. Interestingly enough, there's no way... well, actually, Trizbania summons if a monster is summoned to a single Link arrow specifically.
No, Trizbania is it has to be a zone this card points to.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Bomber Dragon, excuse me.
Or, yeah, Zeroboros.
Zeroboros, too, yeah.
All those folks. Trizbania is worded a little bit differently, but importantly, it's got more than 800 attack under Black Garden. What do you do if you're the Madolche player in this scenario? How the heck do you get these tokens off your side of the field. Tribute summon Pudding Cess?
I mean, you have the Pudding Cess in hand, correct? Because he added it
You
the
do, yeah.
previous turn. Yeah,
That'd be
so
funny.
like
I don't know if it'd solve the problem.
I was about to say, does it even do anything? Is this how he wins, just by clogging up the board and making it impossible for them to be able to play? I mean, I'm stunned. I'm truly stunned at this point.
Chat has figured out a potential avenue for an FTK. If you do this turn 1 while your opponent has 5 zones open, you can go into an Earthbound Immortal, which is a searchable mechanism via Union Carrier, to burn for 4,000. And if you could just loop that, you win.
You know, leave it to chat to be able to find out the most obscure FTKs imaginable.
Yeah.
So maybe. It's not that it's impossible.
I do like the idea that they're just playing Blackgarden because, like, post combo, nothing's going to be able to get over the Avramax. Like, just like when we thought we were watching Pole Position and it turned out we were watching a good deck, this might be a hilarious FTK deck that's just being used here because it's a good card.
I think it's fun that people like playing decks like this just because it's like they just love like memeing on people, you know?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just being able
And they're
this is
having a huge amount of success.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're 3-0. We still have 5 more rounds to go after, 4 more rounds to go after this because this is round 4. Like, and that's it. I mean, Morphtronic Man just scooped it up. I mean, he's like you said, there's no conceivable way you would be able to out those tokens, and the next turn you're just going to get completely obliterated by the Avramax as well as the Trisbania as well.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, that's just incredible. It is kind of a downside to playing Madolche specifically that this has happened, right? Like a deck with a generic extra deck that includes things like, I don't know if you're on Adamancipator, things like Link Spider into Nightmares, into a format. I mean, that admittedly giving your opponent 4 tokens in that scenario sounds terrible. But
Joseph, do you really
deck, it's just a bunch of extravagance cards anyway.
Do you really think Madolche or Morphtronic Man came into this thinking, I hope I don't run into Black Guardian Crusadia Drago this event? Like,
no,
that would be my
rookie mistake to not plan for that tier 1 match, honestly.
Okay, so then in your vast experience of both of these decks, what are you expecting to see out of the sideboard here?
I'm expecting to see, this is unironic. I think, wow, wait, Morphtronic Man picked first? Whoa, my word.
I'm telling you, those new cards out of Eternity Code give the deck a lot of juice going first, and so I'm not really too surprised. I think I'm a little surprised, but not as much as as you might think.
You know what's really cool is Mangeline into Salon into Mangeline. Really awesome. Great.
Yeah, great card design that there's no once per turn, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they were like, what are they going to do? Normal summon twice? Impossible. I will say that I probably would have gone second if I was Morphtronic Man. Crusadia OTK.
I agree.
Nonsense. Probably can't mount too much of a defense without Blackgarden specifically. If I was in the Crusadia player seat, I probably would be smokescreen boarding into a whole bunch of trap cards. I mean, that's what the deck did historically. And I love this, overlaying these 2 Mangeline for a Trap Tricks Rafflesia, so you have access to Gravehole, which functions as a Called by the Grave.
Well, we don't know which on. I mean, I would assume you're correct in just having that sort of Call by the Grave access a Gravedigger Trap to be able to just make sure that your plays, because when setting up this board, you want to make sure that you're not susceptible to those types of things. Belzeth is playing a going second oriented deck. I mean, maybe he's playing the Black Garden shenanigans, so maybe he is on an FTK. But here we go. Petting Cessor getting the Pudding Cess. Both are level 4 now. We overlay for the Glass Souffle. That's going to get us into our Choco a la mode. Does he already have the Chateau in hand potentially? Or is he just
we're just going to natively do it first, and then
okay, sure.
Cake, I believe.
Okay.
Oh no,
Angeli first. Yes.
Hoot Cake.
Correct. Yeah. So Angeli first. We're going to special summon that. And then we're going to tribute that off to special Hoot Cake from deck. Hoot Cake will then banish one of our monsters, and then we'll get to Messengelato. Messengelato on summon. We'll get one of our Madolche spells and traps. We might get the Promenade if we're lacking that. It really just depends. We already have Salon active, so I'll be curious to see which card Morphtronic Man feels that he still needs at this point. I'm curious.
The Messengelato for Chateau shuffles the Angeli back and triggers Salon to get Promenade regardless.
Okay.
So all you're really missing here is Ticket.
I'd be very curious to see if Morphtronic Man is on any other Rafflesia targets aside from the Gravedigger Trap Hole.
Oh, you know what would be really funny? Is if they went into Dagda.
Oh my god, that would be insane.
All right, so we go for a Petting Cesseur.
Yep. That gives us 2 more for work with, so we can go into another Glass Souffle. We're going to trigger Salon, so that gives us our Madolche Promenade.
And
Can I
this
also
is a sweet wall. You get Glass Souffle, you get Sistart, you get Rafflesia. You say go.
I was about to say, can I also just appreciate that Madolche literally has a combo titled The Wall?
It's just a bunch of guys that are hard to get rid of.
Yep. And so we're going to set another card out of our hand here, and Morphtronic Man is going to pass the turn. So, again, you look at this board, and you're like, huh, this doesn't look too difficult. But
It's
it actually is rather
innocuous.
difficult. Yeah. Especially not knowing what other targets they could have. Oh, Anti-Spell Fragrance. That's a good one.
There's the sideboard. Spell Smell is kind of game over for Crusadia. They need to activate either power or the field spell. And if you have like a Twin Twister or a Cosmic, you got to lay that down right now. Oh,
Yep,
you know what else
otherwise-
would be good here is a reboot.
Yes, Red Reboot would also be good. There's a multitude of different options that we can use to dispatch of this, especially when we are going into the sideboard here. So there's plenty of things we can do. It really just depends. Crusadia Draco Kaiju has like I don't like the density of spells in that deck is probably like a third because you want to have like as many playable cards as possible, but they also play a lot of monsters because they're just constantly spamming and link climbing. So they have to have at least 10, if not 15 spells in the deck. So anti-spell being able to just shut that down, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be a hard one to get out of. If you're Crusadia, you're going to have to play through Rafflesia, which is just going to be good at any stage of the game. You're going to have to do it without any spell cards, which is nearly impossible when all of your spells are insurance for your summon resolutions. You're going to have to play through a Glass Souffle, whose effect is strikingly relevant against Dracos specifically. I mean, yeah, this is rough.
Yeah, and we also don't know what else the Rafflesia is hiding as well. There could be plenty of other cards aside from just Gravedigger Trap Hole, which, I mean, that's already the telegraphed card, but there could be other things as well. This is going to be a rough one. Although, to be fair, we did see we saw Morphtronic Man be in a seemingly winning position last time and ended up getting blown out by Black Garden and a Thunderstorm Kaiju. So
a Kaiju would go a long way in resolving this board.
Right.
And we know they're playing a ton of them. An Evenly would be all right, but that Promenade is just lurking in the back row.
How do you feel about Anti-Spell Fragrance as a card? Like, do you feel like it's time for this card to go, or do you feel
This card should have gone a long time ago. This card should have gone when they ruled you couldn't set pendulum monsters. Like,
I agree.
The fact that this card exists and says, yeah, so you just can't play a fifth of the summoning conditions, have fun. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Especially, too, what I think is the most unfair part about Anti-Spell Fragrance is the fact that you get to do everything yourself and then set it and then flip it and your opponent's under the effect, but you're not. It's very similar in line to cards like Vanity's Emptiness and all these other cards without like having that massive downside where Vanity's Emptiness has a bit of a weakness where it can be destroyed. But, you know, it doesn't justify that the card should be legal. And I feel like Anti-Spell kind of falls rather in that same category.
Were you ever playing Sky Striker at the time when Sky Striker would occasionally board anti-spell? That I think was the canary in the coal mine. It was like, no, this is over.
Absolutely not.
It's like, this isn't even pretending to be reciprocal anymore.
So not exactly sure what's going on here. Also stated in the chat that the Discord call might have dropped for a moment. So I'm not sure if we're trying to
the Madolche player just said they've been kicked out of Dueling Book, lost connection. Is that a game loss? And unfortunately, the answer to that question is yes.
So Morphtronic Man was the one kicked out?
Oh no, yeah, so that's going to be a loss for Madolche, and that loses the entire set. Oh, hello, Farfa subs. Oh, so Twitch just is going to go ahead and A-OK this emote, huh?
So
Farfa K.
Unfortunately, that's going to be the end of it then. Morphtronic Man.
Unfortunate. Wow, what a terrible ending to an interesting archetype.
I know. It was so cool, and then man, I really just wanted to see more of this deck. I'm curious what Belzef is like, his whole strategy is with Blackguard and everything like that, but We're going to go ahead and go to commercial. We'll find you guys a bit of a relevant meta matchup here. We were hoping that Madolche was going to go up against something like Adamancipator, Eldritch, Salmon Great, something like that, but that wasn't the case. So we'll see what we can find for you for round 4. Go ahead and take a break. We will be right back.
Hey everyone.
Still looking to earn your invite for the free Players Championship on May 9th and 10th? Visit ppgeventmanagement.com to learn about the different qualifiers available. From one-day events to play-on-your-own-schedule events, all events offer a buyback or cash option along with a 100% credit option redeemable towards any future pre-order at competitive prices. Grinding and getting paid to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never been easier. Play with the most professional worldwide tournament series today and join the online community. Come join us on Discord for assistance, info, and even discussions about future events.